Good morning on this beautiful, almost sunny morning in Saddlebrook, Arizona. Hi, I am Ron Gannett. I am one of the pastors at Community Church here in Saddlebrook. And as many of you know, this coming weekend is going to be celebrating the 100th anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic. And as a lot of attention is being made on that this week in the news, we are blessed at our church to have a little bit of an historian, Stan Hustad, who knows a lot about the sinking of the Titanic. Stan, good to have you here today.
Right. It's good to be here.
And you know, Stan, I preached on resurrection living last Sunday,
right,
and shining, and you are definitely shining, brother.
This is my resurrection haircut now, I tell people, because I shine.
Well, you do shine, brother. Hey, tell us about the Titanic.
Well, it is a powerful story, you know, and Pastor, I was a little bit of a gimp when I was a kid, you know. It's hard to believe that, but I really was. And I remember even when I was in 7th grade, I read a classic book, which some people may have read, called A Night to Remember, written by a man named Walter Lord. And it was a classic book, and it talked about the fact that the Titanic was quite an event. In fact, it was a major event when it started to sail, and there's a number of stories about it. But I was always fascinated by that, and so even after the movie, or even before the movie, I knew a great deal about how that had happened and was fascinated by the story. And in fact, I've done a number of talks about what I call the Titanic moment. And the case was that truly this was an unsinkable ship. It represented everything about the Gilded Age prosperity of America. People didn't know that in 2 years the world was going to fall apart with World War II, but everybody who was anybody, the rich and the powerful and the famous, the people who were aspiring, many new immigrants were on that ship, and they were ready to enjoy life fully and make a big deal out of life. And then, unbeknown to them, on that terrible day, an iceberg came up, and they suffered what I call a Titanic moment. And we all have those things that may happen in our lives.
Boy, I'm sure everyone could identify with having a Titanic moment. The thing about one of those moments is that you never know when they're going to come, do you?
That's right.
You never know what a day holds. And you know, Stan, that we're standing on the back part of the 13th green.
You almost had a Titanic moment.
Well, we had one yesterday here in Saddlebrook, and I'm going to ask Jim Gray, one of the guys I play golf with in Unit 9 on Wednesdays, to come and tell us about that. He was putting here. He was on the green in 2 and was getting ready to putt for a birdie when all of a sudden he saw something phenomenal. Maybe Jim, could you come up here and tell us about that?
Well, Brother Ron, yes, we had a moment here yesterday, didn't we? We had a pickup truck, come through those rocks over there and come across that path upside down, airborne, and land on this side of the cart path, and we were up on that green and came running down to find this truck pretty well smashed up. The foursome ahead of us saw the truck upside down. We couldn't see the truck. We couldn't see anything up on the green. You can't see down here. And they told me that the truck was upside down when it coming across the cart path.
What were you thinking when you heard the noise and you saw what was going on?
It was so much noise and so much dust, I thought I couldn't imagine what it was. There was a terrible a crash, and then silence, and then the truck hit again, and the tree disappeared. This tree behind us right here just disappeared. You know, we couldn't see the truck and couldn't see the tree. And when we came over the hill, we found the truck, and the fellow was laying in the truck on the roof, obviously, and we could see on the driver's side of the truck, which was facing the green, we came down and pulled the tree off, and we could see his feet. And we thought, oh boy, we could pull him out of there if we get the door open, but the door was locked. So we came to this side and looked, and we couldn't even see in the car because there was so much stuff piled against the window. And then, so we really didn't know what to do. We couldn't get the door on this side open because it was laying on the ground. And so we went on the other side, and he's wiggling his feet. We said, that's a good sign. And we came back on this side, and he rolled the window down. And as he rolled the window down, the stuff that was up against the glass started to fall out of the car, and out popped his head. And you know, you don't really want to touch somebody who's maybe seriously injured in there. We assumed he had to be injured, and he started crawling out. And so Harold Norton, who was in the foursome ahead of us, and I kind of took him under the shoulders. When he came out, he was headed right for a broken tree, so we kind of guided his face away from that. And we let him do most of the struggle. We were afraid to drag him because we didn't know if he was injured. But when he got his torso out, then we dragged him out, and he brought out with him a case. I don't know what it was. We got him out, and he's on his hands and knees, and he turned around and reached back in the truck. We thought, my gosh, don't go back in there. And he pulled out a case, and there was a lady there helping us, and she bent down. She said, "Here, I'll take that." And then Harold and I brought him up and set him on the curb here, and kind of backed away. By then the sheriff was here, and we just kind of backed away and
let them take over.
Let them take over. And behind us, the foursome behind us was wanting to shoot on the green, so we said, we better get going. And the foursome ahead of us, they were all standing right here. We said, we better start playing golf. We're going to bollocks this whole thing up. And so we went up and putted, and I didn't even realize that I had a birdie.
You made the putt.
I made the putt. And it wasn't until after it was all over and I started adding up the score, I said, "Oh my God, that was the first birdie of my life, and I didn't get a chance to enjoy it." I was,
maybe the good Lord was honoring you for helping this guy out.
Well,
of that truck.
It could be.
What do you think it would have been like if you had been in your golf cart getting ready to cross this road?
We'd be dead. That truck came across there upside down. We could have been sitting there in the golf cart. We would never been able to get out of the way of him.
Wow.
And we never thought about that either until later. We were sitting around
the
clubhouse talking, and we said, "Oh my gosh, think of that." And then we find out you were here.
Well, you get home and you realize what could have happened, right?
Yeah.
I was just standing just behind us. I overshot this hole about 2 holes earlier. My ball came over the green, right in this ditch behind us. I pulled it out, and I chipped up onto the green, or tried to chip up onto the green. And if I'd been standing here when that truck had gone through, he would have wiped me out.
Wiped you out.
And you never know when something like that is going to happen, what a day may hold. You never know when that Titanic moment that Stan talked about is going to come into your life. But the nice thing about being a Christian is that we know what the prophet Nahum said: "The Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble, and he knows those who trust in him." So let's learn from the Titanic moment and allow it to help us renew the wonderful faith we have in the God of heaven.